They're gonna make Halo good again, guys. They actually mean it. All those other times in the past when they said the same thing, they didn't actually mean that. This time, they mean it. We gotta trust them on it. I don't know if you heard the news, but 343 got shut down. Those were the original creators of all the bad Halo games. Bungie being the original creators of the good Halo games. They got shut down by Microsoft for being bad, kinda. They got rebranded, really, is what happened. And they changed the engine for Halo. And there's a lot of mixed opinions on it. I don't like that they went with Unreal Engine. I think they should have made their own in-house engine, but okay, maybe they can do some good stuff with it. The concept kind of looks boring, kind of looks like every other Unreal game. But you know, I'm just a little guy. I'm a small guy who's gonna listen to me. Let's see what Actman has to say. People like him. People like Actman. He's got millions of followers. The end of 343 Industries. Dawn of a new Halo era. A new Halo era.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for Halo. What's up, everybody? This is the Actman here, and today, the monument to all our sins has collapsed. 343 Industries is no more.
Whatever semblance of unity and protection they once provided is a phantom, a memory. With this franchise left unchecked, who will you turn to for protection?
Halo Studios. That's right, 343 has completely rebranded their company. Poof, gone into the Shadow Realm with you. Not only this, but they're also switching to Unreal Engine 5 for future Halo projects. Multiple Halo projects are in the works. And that old slip space engine...
Multiple Halo projects are in the works. Multiple. How many of those you think are going to be 10 out of 10? They can't all be. And which ones are going to be 10 out of 10 and which ones are not? How many are going to be even good? Quality over quantity.
That was covered in dust and technical debt and spaghetti code. They're leaving that behind too. During a Halo World Championship Series in this year of our Lord Sergeant Johnson, 343 put out a 6.5 minute video right before the grand finals. And this video, well, it's starting to fix the apathy I've had towards this franchise. This video contained some of the most important updates the Halo franchise has had in the last 12 years. And we're going to talk about it all because I'm a little excited at the prospect for change. It's been a long time since I made a Halo video that wasn't just taking easy pot shots, just taking a dump on that travesty of a TV series, or revisiting Halo 5 because I want to make Halo videos, but I don't have much to talk about. So is this the start of a great new era for Halo? Are we finally heading out of the Dark Ages? Well, if you've been paying attention since 343 took over, you'll know there's still plenty of things to be skeptical about. To be honest, I always felt it was a strange decision to name the studio tasked with developing Halo after the main antagonist from the first and the third game. I get that the Monitor tried to protect Halo from Master Chief, so maybe that was their way of saying we're gonna protect Halo.
Unacceptable! Unacceptable!
We're gonna protect Halo by destroying it. That's what 343, that's what it did.
But changing to Halo Studios, maybe that's their way of saying, hey guys, we're out of our villain arc. I think the new logo is a throwback to some old concept art Bungie had when they were creating the original Halo logo, but they should just use the old Halo logo. I mean, it's instantly recognizable and it's important to capitalize on brand recognition. I think even the most skeptical and pessimistic would agree that this is a good idea. Rebranding is a good idea, especially among the greater gaming audience. 343 Industries was a name associated with the decline of one of the greatest shooters. It was associated with disappointment, unfulfilled promises, with failing to meet expectations.
Oh boy, they better do it right this time, or I think there's no coming back for them at all. Is this the last chance for 343? I don't know why I did 3 quotes. This the last chance for 343, now known as Halo Studios. They could have come up with something better than that.
It felt like with every new release, we'd get part of what we wanted, but it always seemed to come with a heavy price paid.
We made the really tough decision to delay shipping campaign co-op.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Now that old leadership has been replaced with new leadership, a rebrand makes a lot of sense. They're leaving their past behind, quite literally. They're leaving the slip space engine behind and their former identity. I think this rebrand has been a long time coming. They'll be able to distance themselves from previous failures and missteps and start fresh. There's still plenty of questions that we need to answer, and so I think we should take a look at the video itself, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on it. There's a lot to dive into.
What made Halo successful at the beginning? What is the legacy of Halo, and what's the soul that we want to bring forward, and what's the craft of making Halo games, and how do we set our studio up best to go deliver on that?
They keep asking this question over and over again, and they never seem to be able to answer it. And this time they're asking it again, but also thinking they have the answer, while still asking the question. Like, they've got this new thing, and they're like, we found the answer. We're going to rebrand Halo. And we're also going to be asking the question of, what is Halo? What makes Halo so great? And we're going to change everything.
Interesting question. What made Halo successful? It's important to recognize that, again, this is a 6.5-minute video, so the things they say are vitally important. It's been cut and trimmed down to contain the best parts. But what made Halo successful is a question I feel like I've been trying to answer in my videos for a very long time. It's a combination of many things, but most vital among them is community. Community is what made Halo so successful. Multiplayer was envisioned as a fun party game to play with your friends, something that Nintendo would have made if they created a shooter.
And don't forget the fact that when you unlock stuff, you just unlock it. You don't unlock the possibility of being able to buy it in their store for $10 for a freaking set of armor.
You know, over the course of 10 years, Bungie cultivated a very wide audience of gamers who, like Unishek says earlier, felt like they never ran out of things to do. And the Halo community is one of the most underrated. Whenever I go to these HCS events, everyone I meet is super cool. I never have a bad conversation with anybody. I get recognized. Everyone there is super passionate about Halo. And so what made Halo successful was that it appealed to so many different kinds of gamers. You think about all those videos on YouTube over the last 5 or so years that have made these videos about how Halo Infinite is so disappointing, how 343 killed Halo, yada, yada, yada. And I hope this new Halo Studios team recognizes that we have lost a lot of fans. But Halo still has that brand recognition, and if the cards are played right, we can get these fans back, and we can rebuild that community. Obviously, what they're thinking is a fresh start, new engine. They're hitting the reset button, which again has to make you a bit worried if they're just going to completely drop the Infinite plotline and just forget about the Endless. But this is, in a way, our first look at the next Halo game. It also sounds like they're looking to the past to understand how Halo became a cultural phenomenon, how it has the legacy it does.
When I first heard about Halo moving on Unreal Engine, my first thought was, this is going to be a really hard secret to keep.
And it was. There were a lot of rumors circulating, which are pretty much all confirmed now, that 343 was swapping to Unreal, and now it's fully confirmed, so we can talk about it.
Before, we really had to split our focus in thinking about building an engine, supporting it, being really kind of a tech company and a studio at the same time.
And I think if you're looking for the simplest explanation for why Halo has faced the issues it has under 343, that was it. Bungie kept much of their staff after each new release.
If they're gonna leave features behind at release, like say doesn't come with Forge mode when there's a promised Forge mode, or when the multiplayer only has like 3 things to do and only like 4 maps, when we know that there's supposed to be a lot more, but on launch they couldn't release all of that content. If that happens, plus, oh, there's problems with our game, everything's broken, quick, make sure the store works. Everything is based on the store. I'm not gonna play it, guaranteed. If it's gonna cost me $70 and I don't get all of the content available in the game, I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
So they had a core unit of veterans who understood the Blam engine, meaning there likely wasn't massive amounts of time spent getting new developers to learn it, right? We used to have a 3-year cycle with Halo games, and now it's like 3 years since Infinite came out. This is the first we've heard of the next Halo game. The engine is what's been holding it back, as well as some of the baffling creative decisions. But because of Microsoft's contracting hiring policies, they've shed so much talent, and it's created this spaghetti code with Infinite that is just too much to work on. It's just too convoluted. I'm pretty sure Slipspace and the Blam engine, though they're pretty much the same, they were proprietary. So every new employee who came on had to learn that engine if they hadn't already worked on it before, whereas Unreal is much more widely used across the gaming industry.
Because it all works the same and everything looks the same. That's why.
So you have a much better chance of getting people on board who are already familiar that don't need to be trained over the course of 6 months or whatever. It's all code. It's all code, ones and zeros at the end of the day.
Since we've made the change to shift to UE, we can bring Halo forward in ways that people have never seen before while still being true to what Halo is.
I sure hope so.
They still haven't proven to me that they know what Halo is. Because so far it seems to me that they think Halo is Master Chief and guns and armor pieces and skins and maps and live service and patches and nerfs.
Like I said, there's been some insane, incomprehensible creative decisions made over the years, and that is something that worries me, is mistakes being repeated. Slipspace was treated as the cure for all their problems, and they spent so much time working on it, and in the end, it didn't end up working. Now, I can't predict the future, but we're hearing some of the same talking points as they discuss the benefits of swapping to UE. And here's the thing, a new engine can revitalize the team, you know? It can make it easier to bring new people on board, but it's not an instant cure for one of the other main problems Halo has faced. Without
Bureaucracy?
the proper creative direction, Halo's going to suffer the same issues it did before. It doesn't matter how nice your tools are if you're still building the same house on the same faulty foundation.
Our new studio art director, Chris, came to me and said, hey, I have this crazy idea.
He said, hey, there's this thing called Project Foundry that I want to do. Let's make it happen.
Project Foundry, which I think is a CE remake, by the way. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's not a game, it's a research project for our studio so we can prepare ourselves for the next steps of making Halo games.
Oh my god!
Ooh, ooh, look at that waterfall.
I mean, it's got Halo stuff in it, but is it Halo? It doesn't seem like it's Halo to me.
Sexy.
It seems like it's Unreal Engine.
Flood, boys! Flood! Can you believe it? Can you fucking believe it? My god, we might actually
It's
see
all
an
samey.
M rating in a Halo game.
I don't believe it!
This is what has been missing. I think this is a great mindset to have when going into this new project. They're creating a link between the lore of the universe and the work they'll be doing, right? This is how the Forerunners built the Halo rings, and this is how we're going to build Halo games. There's also been some rumors circulating that they're working on a Halo CE remake. And I mean...
Which, by the way, if it doesn't look like Halo, not that big a deal if it's fun. That's not the biggest deal to me. I'm just saying it's another red flag to me that it looks like Unreal Engine.
Makes sense. Remakes are pretty hot right now. That's all the horror genre is. It's just remakes. Dead Space, Resident Evil 4, Silent Hill 2. And let's face it, treading familiar ground is probably the right way to start off this new era of Halo, if we're going to start it off on the right foot.
Everybody keeps giving me hate because they're like, oh, that's the combat evolved armor. Oh, they literally call it power armor. When I say it was power armor, I was talking about Fallout power armor, which it is not supposed to be. It's supposed to be like, basically that they are the armor in Halo. And I understand the armor that I called fat, that I said looked fat, is the original combat evolved armor. But like, if you're remaking it, make it look better. If it looks ugly and fat, which, by the way, Halo Combat Evolved came out in like what? The year 2000? We judge graphics different back then. We have better graphics now, better tools to make things look prettier. We didn't have much to go on. We had to kind of use our imagination to make things seem prettier than they were. Not saying it's not pretty, not saying Master Chief didn't look badass then, but it was a different time. And things looked different to us back then.
Because it means they don't have to figure out and worry about too many creative decisions. Most of the creative work has already been done. Now all they have to do is expand on it. And you know what this means? It means we might actually see the fucking plasma rifle in
Also,
foot, because creative work has already.
he don't really look fat there. I don't see where people are getting the fact that old Combat Evolved Master Chief was fat.
Been done. Now all they have to do is expand on it. And you know what this means? It means we might actually see the fucking plasma rifle in a Halo game. Imagine. Well, what about dual wielding, huh? Playable elites? Maybe that's on the table. Maybe we can start having the playable elite conversation, boys. Invasion? I'm just spitballing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. I understand the logic that they have of wanting to do like a CE remake, treading familiar ground so they can understand this engine, how they're going to make Halo within it, and establish a repertoire so that their first new project under this new brand, they can get a W. Then after proving themselves and gaining some confidence, they can start getting more ambitious. I would love to see a CE remake if it means we can get more campaign levels, more multiplayer maps, weapons, vehicles. There's so much unutilized creative potential. All the Halo Wars 2 vehicles, man. I mean, it's time to use some of those, man. Now, people might point out that CE Anniversary was a remake, so why do another? But it wasn't a remake. It was the exact same game with a visual overhaul and some new additional lore and cutscenes. When I think remake, I'm thinking like Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, where yes, they're going to hit some familiar beats, but there's room to expand and add on to that original vision.
The original Halo.
That would be cool. That would be cool, not gonna lie. That would be something that I would want. I would buy that. If there's no microtransactions in it. Because I'm just saying it outright. If there are microtransactions in a game, I ain't buying it. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, no microtransactions. Baldur's Gate, no microtransactions. Elden Ring, no microtransactions. Resident Evil 4, I mean, kinda. But like doesn't have an in-game store with skins and all that. Even though you can buy some skins, which is fine. Have some skins, just not a store with new stuff, armor pieces that are rolling out every single day. And like, you gotta get the season pass. What about the second season pass? And what about this event that has its own season pass? So there's 3 season passes. And if you get the ultimate season pass, that gives you all 3 season pass, plus some extra rewards. Oh, you missed a past season pass? Pay us $20. You can get all the stuff from that season pass that you missed, so you don't have to miss nothing.
Halo franchise was a graphics showcase. It was best in class. That's what Halo was when it first was released, and that's what Halo needs to be again.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Halo has always pushed the technical boundaries of visuals, graphics, and fidelity. If we ignored the faces of the prophets in Halo 2, we forgot about that. Also, Lord Hood in Halo 3 didn't look too great either, but outside of that, Halo was always pushing the boundaries of console gaming and bringing it to the next level, you know? Remember that story of Hideo Kojima when he first saw Halo 3 gameplay and he watched the plants move and react with the player as they walked into him, and he nodded his head before walking off. Almost like that impression he got from Halo was that he needed to do better work. Also, original art style. We got original art style, and that's Mark V. That's CE Chief right there. Also, it's nice to see biome variety highlighted, as that was a...
He didn't talk about Fat Master Chief, or at least that people are saying that he looks fat. And it's not really, he doesn't really even look fat. It's just at one angle he looks fat. Like chunky. And I think the only reason he looks chunky is because he doesn't have the dark spots all over his armor. He's too shiny. The original Combat Evolved Master Chief was not shiny. Because, I mean, they had to have flat palette for colors. They had to fake to make things look shiny.
Huge issue with Infinite's campaign. It's like it was just robotic Forerunner corridors, banished encampments, and Pacific Northwest vibe. That's pretty much all it was. And if you look at Combat Evolved, each level was radically different in style, tone, backdrop, and there's endless amounts of creative locations you can create because it's a Halo ring. They're artificially made. That cave is not a natural formation. Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere. And also, it's probably a tough decision to make because you have to confront the sunk cost fallacy when you're switching to a new engine, right? You can't just copy and paste all your previous work and add it into a different engine. I'm not a game developer, so I don't know how it works exactly, but from my understanding, so they're basically going to be starting from scratch. And that was probably a...
What they're going to do is, and I think they already said this in that 6-minute video, is they're going to be hiring a lot of contractors. They didn't say contractors. They said they're going to be hiring a lot more people, but I think they're going to be hiring a lot of contractors to be doing art. People that know how to do the Unreal Engine. So they're going to be outsourcing a lot, I guarantee.
Tough decision to make on the back end, but after so many mistakes, it was time for a fresh start.
And then our third biome was the Blightlands, which is any land.
That's just fucking gorgeous. That's just beautiful.
I wanted to give our team the opportunity to really express.
Yeah, but let's play in it before we judge that it looks good, because it is the Unreal Engine and it's just concept tech demo. Like, we got to play in it. We got to see what it looks like in play, because it may look pretty as a wallpaper, but when you're running around, it might not look as pretty. It might be bland. It might be really samey. It might look like every other area in that part of that game, or in that part of that section of the game.
An alien world, a really alien world, taking something way further than they may have actually done in previous Halo games.
Yeah, I totally agree. Right there, what I just saw, it looked like Halo Wars, and Halo Wars felt different. It looked different than a lot of the flood-themed levels. You know, we had High Charity. We had, yeah, pretty much just High Charity, like the only flood-infested place. But Halo Wars was much more open, and so seeing how the flood infects a wide landscape is really interesting. How they infest the environment itself is something we really haven't seen too much of, at least in the main games.
What's impressed me about watching the Halo team work in Unreal is how beautiful everything looks, how incredible the environments look. I don't think we've seen anything quite like
I don't care about that.
Before.
And
I don't care if the environments are beautiful. I only care if they're interesting. Because it doesn't matter if they're beautiful, if they're boring.
It does look great. It does look great. But you know what also looks great? That first initial reveal trailer for Halo Infinite. And then we saw what the campaign looked like in 2020, and they were like, yeah, this needs another year. It needs more than a year. So it's easy to be hyped because we haven't had much to be hyped about with Halo recently. But it's also important to, you know, take a step back from the hype and not make the same mistakes, not rush to judgment that this is all going to go perfect.
Fortunately, we have a studio that's really passionate about Halo, about the look and the feel, and you know, I think there's
I'm just gonna keep it in my head that they're gonna disappoint, and if they don't, then it's a surprise, and hell yeah.
a lot of hunger to really collaborate, to move forward together.
Hunger is a good word. They're hungry to prove themselves. A passion for Halo, which again is in stark contrast to some previous interviews we've heard from where they talk about the Halo TV series, and it's like, we didn't look at the games, or, you know, we wanted to hire people to work on Halo that didn't like Halo. It's a complete 180 in terms of what they're saying. But again, these are all just words and some fancy screenshots. So,
and it is great to be part of a team that's growing, because you can kind of see that force multiplied as people come in and take on challenges, and you can do more.
I'm getting the vibe that everyone is optimistic, hungry, passionate. These are things you want with...
At least the people in the video are. Just saying, if my boss is coming around to me with a camera and is like, hey, you want to talk about my game? You want to talk about the game we're making? I'm going to be hyping it up because it's my boss and I'm trying to make money here. If I shit on the game that we're trying to work on, I'm probably going to get fired, which I don't think should be a thing. I think you should be able to shit all over whatever the project you're working on is. Should shit all over it. I love it when people shit all over me. Wait, hold on. Let me not say it like that. I love it when people give me negative feedback.
With your development team, the vibe is right. I'm getting good vibes.
It feels like a new beginning for the studio in a lot of ways, and I think that's pretty rare.
And that this also comes across as like promotional material for people who are looking for a job in the game industry. Like, hey, we're getting our shit figured out, you know? We're hungry, we're passionate, we love Halo, and we're looking for people like you.
And I think we arrived now at a point where you see the beginnings of people to start to believe in the process.
Start to believe in the process. I feel like there must have been so much frustration behind the scenes because of the cards they were dealt, right? They had to work on slip space and they had to work within the constraints of that. It must feel very liberating knowing that they're swapping to UE and they have this like newfound freedom. It'd be like me making videos on Windows Movie Maker and then getting Premiere Pro and feeling like, oh my God, the videos I can make. you know? So I totally get this vibe. But also, you can't expect the studio to come out and be like, yep, we fucked up a whole bunch before. This is a new chapter. Man, we really screwed things over. No Slayer playlist at launch. Who the fuck came up? Like, they can't come out and say that stuff directly. But they're kind of indirectly addressing some of those sentiments and trying to spark that fire.
Set a fire in your heart, Spartan.
Halo Infinite was the last remnants of how we made Halo games in the past. That was our recipe. And what we are doing right now, we're changing that recipe.
That new Chief design. That's a cool animation. I wonder if my boy Will Pixel Flare did that.
Does he actually like this new Chief design? Because he looks really clean. He looks too clean and too bulky.
In the past, that was our recipe. And what we are doing right now, we're changing that recipe.
Looks way too clean, way too bulky. There's like no dents, no scratches. He's too shiny. Like, has he been in war before? Or did he just step out the pot?
That new Chief design. That's a cool animation. I wonder if my boy Will Pixel Flare did that. So yeah, Pierre just said something I think is really telling. That's how we used to make Halo games, and we're changing the recipe. And that is exactly what I want to hear. But you know, at the end of the day, I just want to see Halo succeed, and like, I want it to see it get 250,000 concurrent players on Steam when a new Halo game comes out, and I want to see it retain a large chunk of that population. I want to see this series reach its full potential because I'm such a huge fucking fan. And if swapping engines and rebranding is what it takes, then I'm all on board for that. Sure, you know, give it a try, start fresh. It sounds like they have a much better understanding of the creative direction they should be taking this franchise in. However, and this is a big however, I also said the same thing prior to Halo Infinite coming out. And I hope this is it. I hope this is it this time. You know, don't give me false hope, please.
Don't make a girl a promise if you know you can't keep it.
Still, nothing has been proven yet. They showed off some great visuals and they said all the... Nothing has been proven yet. They showed off...
Where's the variety in this? It all looks the same, and that's the same machine triangle thing that was from the other concept with the ice. It's like there's, which, yeah, I know that's a Halo thing. I don't remember what those are called. Pillars? I think they're called pillars. I don't know. Am I right about that? But it's the only thing. It's the only thing in the shots. Like, no variety in the backgrounds whatsoever. It's all samey. That's what's got me worried. It's just the sameness. Same as every other game. Same as every other Halo game, too. But now they're going to be using the same engine as every other game.
Some great visuals, and they said all the sweet nothings I want to hear whispered in my ear, but it's too early to say, we're back, boys. Microsoft still needs to get their head out of their ass and fix their stupid dogshit contracting work policies so they can retain that top-tier talent instead of letting them go work elsewhere. Be nice to the goose. They're breeding a goose to lay golden eggs. That's what they're trying to do, so feed it right. Overall, I'd say I'm feeling pretty positive of the direction this franchise is going in. I eagerly await the next update on their next project. Fingers crossed, lads. Halo may have fallen, but the ladder is still there, and we can still climb it. But what do you think? Are you excited or skeptical for this new direction of Halo? What's one thing you want to see return in whatever the next main Halo game is? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Actman for more awesome content.
I remain negative to most games on purpose because I don't trust large companies, especially Microsoft and companies like that. I didn't trust Activision before, and then Microsoft acquired Activision. Now I especially don't trust them. But if you are not hopeful for anything, then you're surprised when something's good. Not to say I'm negative about everything, just when it comes to video games and movies and TV shows. The stuff that doesn't matter. I am not hopeful. On purpose, because I like to be surprised.